Hello, I just wanted to make a quick video on my thoughts and impression of my Mikita cordless chainsaw. I've had this now for about 3 months, and I've been working on a new piece of property, clearing brush, taking down some small, maybe up to 8 or 10 inch trees, and then also breaking down, bucking other trees that I had professionally taken down with it. You know, I think I've probably used it probably a total of maybe 8 times now, and these are just my thoughts about it. Before I had this saw, I had the Cobalt chainsaw, and this is definitely a improvement over the Cobalt cordless saw. Not only has a longer bar, but has more robust construction, more battery power, etc., etc. But you know, the big question I always have is how close is this to a a gas powered saw? And that's like the first pro. You know, with the electric powered saws, what's nice about it is, especially if you're kind of not what I'd say a truck guy, right? If you have a truck where you got a bed, you can put your saw and your gas oil mixture and everything, and can rattle around back there and get all dirty, that's fine. But I have a car, it goes in the back of the car, and what's nice about this is it's something where I just put a piece of cardboard down, I put the bar oil side up where you put the bar oil in, and there's really no mess, no fuss. So I can kind of leave this in the car and I can go to work. And then after work, I can go to the property and go work on the property. So there's a simplicity factor with this for sure. But with that said, I think there's a lot of elements that, of the electric saw that's not quite ready for prime time compared to a gas saw. And we can kind of get into that. I think the other thing I've kind of already hinted on is the portability. It's really nice just to be able to leave this in your truck or leave this in your car. If you're going camping, you can just kind of throw it in, make sure you got some full batteries, and if you need it around camp or to clear, a log across the road, you got it. Also, if you're into doing trail maintenance, like going up mountain biking, and not that you're going carrying your mountain bike, but if you're just going to go up and work on trails, it's something you can kind of backpack with, relatively easily compared to a gas system. Kind of one of my properties, I'm kind of building it as an off-grid, so in that case, I've got some solar panels, I've got, a lithium battery set up, and with this, I can kind of be out there and I can just kind of charge up the batteries, and, I can use it for work around the, around the off-grid cabin that I'm building, and also I can, if I want to leave it up there, I don't have to worry about bringing a bunch of stuff out there for it. And I think finally kind of a good, nice point about it is the noise level. It's certainly not nearly as loud as a traditional chainsaw. Even when you're not using it, it's not like it's idling like a traditional gas chainsaw would. I think I kind of mentioned this before, the Mikita itself, especially when you look at the internals, is kind of more robust than, than a number of the other cordless saws on the market. You can see here I've been kind of picking up all kinds of stuff, but, with it, you got like a lot of metals, internals. It seems like it's held up pretty well. The only exception I'll kind of say in terms of wear and tear is this area here, and that's caused by when the chain gets pinched and then it comes off the bar and then it kind of backs up and it kind of eats this area out. I don't think it's really causing any problems, but it's just kind of a point of wear and tear. But you can see the rest of it, it's like a metal on metal type of contact, and so it's actually fairly robust, as you can see. I'm not really sure, I don't have a huge amount of experience with gas saws, but I imagine most saws are going to have, dirt and kind of material kind of building up in this area. And I, come home and I do my maintenance. and kind of clean it up. Cons. Well, so I'll go out, and this saw is awesome for like the first 5 minutes, and I think it's related to battery temperature, but once those batteries heat up, the performance just goes into the crapper. You know, basically I'll run it pretty hard for a couple minutes, and then, you know, it'll start to stall out. And then you have to kind of, you know, wait, you know, a little bit, and then it'll kind of start back up, but it progressively kind of gets shorter and shorter. At first I thought it was battery, the amount of energy in the battery itself, but then I started noticing when I take the batteries off, I check the gauge, I'd still have like 3 bars left. And so I kind of got in the habit of, I would cut, then I'd pick up the wood and carry it, then I could cut, pick up the wood and carry it. And so basically resting the saw. But if you want a saw where you're going to go out and just work all day long with it, this isn't going to do it. Even if you had kind of like, I've got 2 sets of batteries, even if you had like 8 sets of batteries and you could keep them on the charger, it's just, it heats up and then it starts losing performance. And that's really frustrating when you got a lot of work to do. So certainly I think, you know, gas saw over electric saw there. The construction, yeah, I think it's good for a cordless, but, you know, I kind of, you know, was talking to the folks at the saw shop, and they're like, yeah, you know, a Steel or a Husky or, you know, a saw like that, you're not going to have it. You have more robust, everything is kind of armored where it needs to be armored. And remember, this is about a $400 saw, $389 I think on Amazon. And you can buy a pretty nice Steel or a Husqvarna, you know, in a same size, if not bigger, you know, kind of package. And, you know, that's just kind of overbuilt and over-engineered compared to this. You know, I would also say too, is the size of the wood you're cutting really affects the performance of this saw. Now admittedly, this is, I think a 14-inch bar on it. But I will say that, you know, any tree over 10 inches, this really starts to kind of struggle when you're kind of getting midway through and those batteries heat up. You know, I kind of found the best way to use this is if I've got a log on the ground and I can roll the log, and I can kind of constantly be cutting on the outer exterior and then cut through the middle. But, you know, normally I'll have it where I'm heaving down and then coming back, middle, and that middle, it really starts to get tired as you're getting kind of to the middle of that. With that said, I've also had a lot of problems with this if I'm in cutting, you know, 1 to 2 inch, you know, kind of like vine maple stuff, anything that pinches. And I don't know if this saw is more susceptible than any other saw, so I won't kind of blame it on the Mikita, but, you know, it seems like it pinches a lot. I throw chains left and right. You know, so I had to get really careful about, you know, how you stress the vine maple as you're cutting through it. So it seems like the sweet spot for this is, let's say, 3 inches to 8 inches. And, you know, especially like on fresh cut wood, yeah, it's great. It just goes right through it. But, you know, and on bigger wood, you can work at it, but you're not going to be able to work at it all day. And I think that's the biggest downside of this, is just kind of the longevity of how it's going to work with the batteries and that system. Yeah, you've got a lot of power in those batteries, but it's going to be kind of problematic to get all the energy out of those batteries into the saw. You know, again, I'd recommend the, you know, cut, you know, go stack your wood, cut, go stack your wood. That seems like kind of the most efficient way to work with this saw. Would I buy it again? Yeah, I think I would. I think as far as the cordless saws, now admittedly I haven't tried the Steel, which seems like that's kind of overbuilt, but I'm not as sure about the battery systems on that, and certainly, you know, I kind of prefer the Mikita 2 battery system to it, and the tool itself seems a little bit better built than the Steel, but I don't know, maybe that has a little bit better run performance. Yeah, I'll keep this, and I'll keep it. Eventually it'll go live up at the off-grid cabin, and it'll be used for kind of, light duty work, little projects here and there. On a construction site is nice, especially if you're working with large dimensional lumber. It's a handy thing to have. But yeah, I think I'm in the market for a gas saw. I'll probably rent a couple to try a couple different configurations out, and then we'll go from there. So anyway, I'd kind of say, at the end of the day, I do like the saw. It is kind of spendy for what it is. So if you're looking at one versus the other, I think I would still go with a comparable gas saw, and kind of deal with the extra inconvenience, and and then maybe in a few years, when especially the battery systems get better on these, then I would jump in. So anyway, hope you have a good one. Take care. Bye.